Imaging inside of a ghost hunt.
Does it detect heat?
Not heat, but cold. We're looking for cold spots. So you guys should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, but this is going to work for me tonight. That means I'm the hottest thing inside the frame right now. Yes, exactly. Bridal parties, that's slays, just so you know. Like I said, half of them are drunk and wearing high heels. So with that, we're looking for blue and black. Those are the cold spots. So this is a FLIR thermal imaging camera. This is what a fireman would use to go in and help save people. He would slap it on his phone real quick. Like, this is not an app you guys can go home and download, unfortunately. You will get the full video back, but I also set it up to where there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. That blue dot is to show you where the coldest spot is in that frame at that particular moment. So I look for 15-degree temperature drops out of that blue dot. We're about 68 degrees ambient out here, so I'll be looking for 53 degrees and colder. So you can imagine, like, I'm making sure it's not a beer can on the ground and so forth and so forth. But again, 58 degrees and colder is what we're looking for in the event that we don't have a full-blown anomaly. When I say I want things to move or take shape, I'm looking for a head, shoulders, moving arms and legs. So that's what we've caught with this guy in the past, and hopefully we'll capture with that again. So with this one, since Lisa asked for a specific camera, we're going to go with this one with you first. So, welcome to a parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. I told you I was taking you to weird spots. So this place used to be something, which is exactly why we are here. This place used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion.
Sorry, so this is the Indigo Girl.
Yes.
Sorry.
Exactly. So, did you all read it?
No,
just you. Okay. So this will all be very familiar to you then, because that's exactly who we're going to be discussing. So, the mansion actually sat in the front of the space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So, who the heck were Charles and Eliza Pinckney? By the way, all you communication devices, this is where I start withholding information on purpose. I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did with the Big Red Barn, right? You're going to get the answers from your communication device. So, with this place, Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles and a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you weren't paying attention. That's why we look for those secondary clues, because in the event that somebody hears the name Charles, I need to know which one it is, so that way we know how to communicate back. But the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics. If I do not give them that recognition, they will give me a very nasty message through a spirit box. So that's exactly, I just give them the recognition. We move on because we're going to be discussing Eliza instead. Eliza marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say that because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, don't expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from, like 12 and 14, when young ladies got married. Think of today's standards, because the husband was over double her age. Kind of a creepy age gap back then, a creepy age gap now. But anyway, she married Charles because her father was over in England, where they're from, and he thinks he's dying. So he's trying to bring all of his children home one last time. Eliza doesn't believe he's dying, so she stays put and gets married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry Charles out of love. This is a true love story. Like, this is not some kind of hoary, horror kind of story. So kind of keep that in mind. Keep in mind with people walking through here when we're filming, just so you guys know, just be very cautious. People do not like their cars to be filmed at all, by the way, especially... Oh, damn it. I lost names again. Brandy. Especially with Brandy's camera, just because it's a thermal, and if I was a car thief, that would be the only tool I need besides a crowbar. So, you guys get the point. Anyway, back to Eliza and Charles.
It's good to know.
I know, right? Give all kinds of teenagers hit. Eliza was right. Her father did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to exactly where you're standing right now. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. However, when Eliza got the seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always warm here, believe it or not. So when she figured that out, she learned how to make the dye and then moved it to a cash crop down by the Stone River. Got a hold of Dad and told him, rice plantation prices are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of. So that's kind of the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here. So, with the spirit boxes, I'm going to assign questions and focal questions. So keep in mind that with all of these communication devices, the answers can go anywhere. So if you're asking a question, it might come over here. We never know where it's going to fall. I always use a minimum of 2 communication devices, not to mention the voice recording and all of the audio from the cameras. So it can go anywhere. So you guys are going to literally tell me all the weird shit that you guys are hearing. That's kind of the whole point of this, because you don't know what questions are being asked elsewhere. So with Mark and Barbara, the 2 of you are going to have the same set of questions based on the type of spirit box that you guys have.
Okay.
So you guys are going to be asking about Eliza's death. She's pretty open about talking about it. So you can ask the 4 major things that we commonly get answers to: how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, and which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So these are 4 major things that are obviously not yes or no questions. If you guys do go rogue with your questions, by the way, just make sure they're not yes or no, and you're very respectful. This is a place of respect. So again, we won't get answers or EMF readings if we don't show respect to the space.
Okay, what were the 4 questions again? How old she was?
So age, how, where is she buried, and
the
president. Where's my next spirit boxes? So we're going to go Lynn and Tish. You guys kind of have the same type of questions as well, because yours, if it gives us anything, will hopefully be initials. Eliza, that I just told you about, is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. So both Elizas, by the way, they were only 5 months apart. The first wife dies in January of 1744. 5 months later, he marries the one I just told you about. So kind of a jerk move, right? Exactly. Well, depending on what kind of fellow you are, I guess. But anyway, so Tish, you're going to be looking for Eliza's maiden name, because they both start with the letter L. That way we know which one we're dealing with. You're going to be looking for Eliza's initials in order, ELP. So I'm obviously not going to tell you what those maiden names are, so that way you're, obviously can ask some focus questions. Where's my next spirit box? Who has the one that's open air? Nicole. So yours. It usually gives us only 1 and 2 syllable answers. So with yours, the mansion's not here unless you can see it right here.
So you can ask what
That's
what he said, like 54
and
below. Is that right? That's what I'm
we'll get 2 or
looking
3
for.
numbers of the date of when that actually occurred.
With the blue dot. I
Some kind of
believe
Yeah,
that's what he
he's-
said,
yeah,
because it's
he's
always
got
been
her.
like in the
Yeah.
70s, but it's when it gets to
Again,
54
your
is what he
answers
said.
can go anywhere.
Is
So
that
have you
right?
gotten any EMF
I was
readings
trying to
at
remember
all
what-
while we've been here? So
should
just so
probably
you know,
ask
this
him.
space will give us an average of 18 to 22. That's
I just
an
remember him
average.
saying,
It
like,
has
that's
gone
what's
much, much
telling me
higher than
that.
that.
Stable.
Parts are-
Pretty sure it's
It's
54.
going to stay stable tonight, apparently.
stable.
So just kind of keep an eye on it. Let me know if you guys get any numbers out of those, because again, it's normally an average of 18.
18, you said 18.0.
18.0.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's high for any other space, but this one, that's the average. Just a few nights ago, when I did have a voice, we actually got, I think it was 147. So again, this is every time we come in here. We're going to stay away from the vehicles, but we are going to spread out and do a round robin with everybody. Or you might get the answers from what any other person's asking too, so you can cherry pick your questions. That's what happened to the mansion. You can ask a lot of
Do you want to walk together? So
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. You can ask them out
I
loud.
wonder if it's just this one or this one.
However, whatever you're comfortable with.
Huh?
People are-
This one and that one.
Oh, let's walk over. I feel like just walk over to that fence.
All right, well, let's do it.
I lost my broom. Oh, there it is. The ground is hot, apparently.
47.
Right there.
Anything?
Mm-mm.
Let's go back to where we were.
Okay. Let me know if your stomach starts hurting. It's really, really.
When I had all the letters of Eliza with interference of you.
Okay.
So I was actually really excited about it.
Wow.
So I was hoping that the thing was going to work on a regular basis, and it just started getting slower and slower and slower. So you might just be staring at letters all night long. I saw here in the past.
Have you take a video of me doing this?
Oh,
So I
yeah.
could send it
Yes.
back. Okay, who's
Use yours? Oh, it's getting lower. 65, that's the lowest I've seen. 66, 65. It's over that way, towards the stables, which is what he said. That's the first time it's been out of the 70s, and it's staying right there, too.
I'm feeling a weird thing in my mouth right here. Like, oh, what the
heck? Oh, okay. That was
freaking.
Is he ready?
That's got to be like a.
Is that an orb? What's
Is
that?
that like a reflection of his headlights, maybe? That's got to be, right? Reflection of his headlights?
Oh, probably.
You know what? Can you grab the guy?
Huh?
You want to grab the guy and ask him?
Well, it's moving, though. Is it his headlight? There it is, though. It's in here, too, right there.
Yeah. You getting it?
I see an orb on your camera videoing you. Yep, it's right there. It's right.
Hey, Barbara, can you go grab him?
It's gone on here. Let's see.
Oh, mine disappeared. Oh, it disappeared.
His headlights are out.
Okay, so that's got to be what it is then.
That was almost exciting.
Oh yeah, so it's back on and his lights are on. It's got to be that.
Oh, okay.
That's almost exciting. What? Oh. Are you still videoing?
You got a good one.
Oh, thank you.
It's not recording now. I don't know how to get it off.
Okay.
I think we should go that way there because it was 60-something up towards the barn. And that's the first time I've had it out of the 70s.
That's got to be his headlights.
See, look, it's, of course, that's the sky. Yeah, unless the tree is just cold, but see, that's the first 60s I've had, and I get them right over there. It's always in the 70s. Like if I go over here, it's 70. It's like 70 all day long. But then over there,
Cool in the barn?
but it's like on that tree.
Oh, let's ask him.
65. He said 54, but I just I'm wondering if we walk closer, if it gets smaller.
I send those videos to YouTube, so I can watch them on a screen. And you guys can watch them on your TV. So between this one and the thermal, I don't always follow up in real time. It's a matter of just like, I'll kind of give direction, almost like a director would. Like, hey, you want to get this kind of angle at this location. But again, with this one being so small, unless I'm staring at it with my glasses on, it's going to be hard to capture anything. So again, being a videographer in a ghost hunt isn't always the most exciting job, just so you know. So I hate to say it like that, but again, I'm an honest guy. So, but again, if you do see something, obviously let us know.
Okay.
But most of it will be bugs. They do debunk a lot of insects flying by your camera. The
Okay.
thermal imaging camera, the things that I caught on that have been blue people walking towards us. Wasn't anybody there from the verification of the other video kind of thing. So we've caught quite a bit with that thermal. I love that
Okay.
damn camera.
Okay,
So-
cool.
Do you so I've had 70s everywhere. Oh, did you have a question about yours first?
Oh, no, there was just, it looked like there was a little orb,
Mhm.
but his yellow lights were on his truck too, so I'm wondering.
Light flare,
Light flare, okay.
more than likely. Go ahead.
So when I'm pointing it towards the stable over there, it's showing 60, and you said 54, right?
53.
Will it get lower if you go closer, or is it pretty much
It's pretty accurate at distance.
okay?
So,
So
I-
like going closer wouldn't put it to a
No.
okay.
I mean, I've noticed about 100 yards out, like it's pretty accurate.
Okay,
Tested this.
that was
thing
just the
quite a
first thing
few
I'd seen
spaces.
under 70.
Yeah,
so
I get
wasn't
it.
sure.
Okay. And is
All
it
right.
this parking lot or that one too?
It actually overlapped, but I'm actually going to rein everybody in. I've done my one round robin to kind of get a little bit of just what's going on here. So, all right, everybody, let's bring it on back. Let's see what we got going on here.
They turned off?
Yeah, go ahead and hit your stop button. Same thing on your camera. Give your hands a little bit of a break. And you can actually lower that camera. You don't have to. All right. Other spirit boxes. Did we hear anything along the way, Mark?
12 by the marketplace.
Okay. Any letters or words coming up on yours, Lynn?
Nothing yet, no. It's starting to now.
Okay. Other spirit boxes.
90.
Word list. What do we get on there?
Outsider.
Outsider.
Oh.
Anything before that?
Yeah.
That's what's going to excite me because we do have the lampposts that are going to give off a little bit of a reading. So spirit boxes, if you want to listen in, if you have headphones, speaker, I'm going to ask you to stay on mute just because I'm going to go through the history here. Go through the history here, we'll kind of stir things up, and then we're going to go across the street and we're going to go talk about a new piece of history over there, but we're going to be directly across, so hopefully we get the bleed over from both locations. So welcome to Philadelphia Alley. Cameras, if you're going to keep filming in here, we do want to get those up and running. Try to get a shot of the either at one of the sides of the alley. It doesn't necessarily need to be on us in here, even with the thermal, because there's enough foliage in here for me to be able to determine, because foliage is going to be much cooler. So just kind of be discreet. If a tour is going to come through here and split the seas for us, they're going to come out of that ivy wall, or they're going to come in the exact same way that we did. Just passers-by may come through all the way from the other end. We'll split it, we'll stop talking, and I'll let them pass through, just so you have the idea of why we're here. Every ghost tour comes here. This is Philadelphia Alley. It's part of the reason why I'm taking it out this year, because I don't like to do all the same things that the other tours do. But we do get a lot of evidence from here, so it's going to be very hard for me to get rid of it. But this used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. I say some because dueling was illegal in the 1700s. They had to find hiding spots. This just happened to be one of them. So here's how it goes. Every tour tells the same story, but I'm going to give you more details, by the way, because you're ghost hunting. It's not a campfire marshmallow kind of ghost tour. So Doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. So Lynn, you're going to be looking for the letters R-I in that order, Rhode Island. So he moves down here. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So those of you that are going to listen to your spirit boxes while you're here, if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it's not coincidence. We get it here all the time because it's part of the doctor's name. So we had it here just a few nights ago. Anyway, Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow that she just inherited, and the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money. He tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. Dr. Ladd moves here to Charleston to prove that he's not after her cash. And on his way into town, the coachman that he had set him up to be robbed and killed. It's kind of like having a really bad Uber driver. So somebody was walking by and seen what was about to happen because he knew the coachman was going to try to kill the newcomer, and his name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. So I will tell you, Lynn's device, this is exactly why I have it, because we were getting the letters R-I all the time from spirit boxes of people spelling out weird things like victorious or whatever they were trying to spell, and I wanted to make sure we were having an accurate reading. So out of the 9 months, 10 months that I've had it, we've had R-I show up about 6 or 7 times. So it's been a legitimate thing. But anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. We're going to go to 59 Church Street. I have friends there. You can rent a room. You'll be safe and good to go. Doc took him up on the offer. The two gentlemen became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's cash flow. And Amanda gets wind of this. She's moving down so they can be married. And Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time. What I will tell you is that every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. So this one just happens to be a doctor. back to Lad and Ralph. They go see plays together, but they cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and they're arguing over the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. Then it turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It got really ugly, and they go their separate ways. Told you Ralph has friends around town, and he goes to his friends at the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Doctor saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they came down. Keep in mind, this whole argument started over an actress. I like to point that out once again. They came down here and took 10 paces away from each other, turned, and the doctor pointed his gun in the air and shot his one shot from his flintlock. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. But Ralph has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doc doesn't die. He fell to the ground, and his friends picked him up and took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment on November 2nd of 1786. Now, that was just over a week ago of the anniversary of his death, and we were getting a lot around that anniversary date. But I'm going to point out a few things. First off, it's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different back then than what we know of them now, and he refused medical treatment because he probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself, but failed. Every ghost tour will tell you, stop and listen for the whistles. Nice thing for us, we're running 3 cameras plus my voice recorder. If we're going to get a whistle, it's going to show up on one of those 4 devices. The other nice thing is we have spirit boxes. I won't say that we haven't gotten a whistle from a song and the word doctor immediately after from a commercial. Dozens of times. It happens all the time, to be quite honest. So kind of keep that in for what it's worth. It is always this quiet. On a busy Saturday afternoon, this is what it sounds like. Summertime, we might hear the air conditioning from the other buildings, but that's about the extent of it. So, we'll let this couple pass through. Flip the C's a little bit before we wrap this one up. Hey guys, did you bring us groceries?
Yeah, get some late night groceries.
If you're going to try and walk through this alley on your own, because I can't take you all the way down, I'll explain in just a minute because I've actually been kicked out of here, which is exactly why I wait and pause for everybody to pass through. But again, if you're going to try it on your own with the voice recorders from your phone, just keep in mind every local knows the story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it I used to do it every single morning because my office is over here, my garage that I parked in was down this way. So I would pass the alley about 4 o'clock in the morning, would always throw a whistle down here. So just kind of keep that in the back of your thoughts. Here's how I got thrown out of here. This is the fun part of the story. So this alley, the way we came in, it was kind of cut off. There was a wall up there. So about halfway between us and Cumberland Street. And this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. This used to be called Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley. So imagine cows and chickens down here. So what does that mean and why am I telling you this? At the end of the alley, there are bricks down there that are older than the ones we're standing on. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there and fingerprint swipes in others. When I first started doing tours, because I didn't always do this, I would take my groups all the way through, just for a history piece. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid's not going to be there. So I would just tell my folks, if you want to see it, I'll point it out and keep walking. However, November 26th of 2020, my entire group decided to stop, group of 10, around that brick and wait for something to happen with their devices. I'm trying to shoo them along because I know nothing's going to happen, and I'm also trying to be respectful to the mansion at the end of the alley. We're right outside his kitchen window. So he come out, screaming, because again, not really sure I wasn't supposed to be there, and I was out of bounds for tours. I didn't know that. I was still new at this. So my daughter thought it was great, by the way, because her dad was getting yelled at, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving simply because I worked for the biggest retailer that you can think of and upper management for many, many years. You guys like to fight over towels on Thanksgiving. I don't work on Thanksgiving anymore. So I own the company, I can do what I want. But the next day was the 28th. These dates are relevant. I know, Tristan, another yawn. The 28th, I called my partner up in the morning and I told him what happened, and he laughed at me just like my daughter did. And he basically said, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. It's out of bounds for tours past that because it's residential. You got to reroute your group. I told my group I don't believe in the next story because, again, my last story was back on East Bay Street. The next story, I told them I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Obviously, we're talking about pirates next. And they all kind of laughed at me. And then somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating, the famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So it's kind of like, oh shit, maybe we're going to get something. We get around the corner, I told them the little bit I did know about pirates, which wasn't much because I only had about 6 hours to do some quick reading. And somebody else heard the number 300. I didn't know what it meant. I wrote it down. I do the research for them. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. So it's kind of like shit. I was actually kind of pissed off. I have a master's degree in creative writing. Especially when I'm doing this, I need facts and data. I did not want to do pirates when it would come to investigating because most of the resources were written 100 years after the alleged occurrences, right? So again, nothing is going to be super, accurate unless we have like the court date on the flyer. So that was my problem with piracy. However, everything that we're going to be doing at the next location came from a minimum of 2 resources. Half my library at home now is all books on pirates. I actually just finished another damn video game on pirates today to get another version of the story. I'm always watching documentaries, movies. You guys get the point. It's always pirates, and I never wanted it to be that way. So we're going to go up and around the corner. Keep your cameras running if you'd like. Just be very discreet because we do have some folks coming by. So you might want to point it straight down if you don't mind. And we're going to go to the right of these folks, and we're going to go up around the corner and talk about some pirates, and hopefully you guys are going to get answers from our whistling doctor as well. So again, I know I talk fast, but again, sometimes you hear things and you don't know that it's relevant to the doctor over here. I'm also withholding information from this location. So, hi guys. Hi. How you doing? Good. How you good? Oh, the gate before we leave the space. Remember I told you that the alley didn't go all the way through this way? If there was a loser to the duel down here, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of the wall. Oh. So otherwise they'd have to go all the way down to Queen Street and then double back to drop the dead body off before they could go celebrate with the winner. So the wrought iron was probably put here in the early 1900s, but you could see that the archway is definitely part of the original wall. So what you see on the other side of that is an actual courtyard, and then the cemetery is just off to the left, and it probably wasn't gated back then. So again, kind of keep that in mind. I couldn't find any resources to tell me if it was truly gated or not. It was probably wide open. But let's go up and we're going to talk about some rated R pirates. You guys ready for this? Yeah. Nobody got my dad joke of rated R pirates? My daughter would punch me in the arm every time she does it. Every time I do that.
Rated R pirates.
Should we turn it off now?
What's going on over there, white noise?
Yeah, let's keep that thing running for sure. At least until we get up and around the corner. Yeah, so have a red backlight so you can see like that.
See anything over there?
It's still 70s. It's hotter. It's hotter, not colder.
People. So turn my camera off.
Just basically they don't
There's something on the ground.
feet.
Are you keeping yours on?
Mm-hmm.
Is it doing that in the parking lot?
Something's coming through.
What's going on, Nicole? Oh.
Ah.
I hope that was a happy yell. I'll tell you that quick end of my ghost story. When Mr. Hall died in the nursing home, no more Mrs. Hall. All of the stuff that was happening stopped.
Wow.
It was like she finally found him, you know.
Yeah. She's just keeping the house.
Well, I think she just couldn't find him because she was just in the house. I mean, they built that house, lived there, they raised a family there. I don't think she knew where else to go. We tried to tell her, you know. But once he died, it was like,
This part of my,
Well, you can walk by it. I know.
part of my leg, like, that part is weird.
huh. It's always your right side, right? Because it was your over here, and it was so far anyway. Other than your stomach ache.
I was in my nauseous feeling. And... Oh.
God.
So that's it. Anything else that's occurred on spirit boxes?
The number 15 and the Lord.
I heard Lord too.
I heard the Lord, and then the number 15. I heard the number 15, and then we just walked by. As soon as I heard it, I looked down, and the number 15 was on the parking space.
I got 10.
Yeah, I saw 15 on the. That was a one parking spot I noted too. Was number 15. I just happened to look at it. I was like, oh, 15.
What up? What up? I think there's a comma in between those. I like it. I like it. Where's our word list? What do we got going on that?
So Randy, jump, pushed me, drum, remarkable.
Huh?
Her brother's name is Randy, but
Is he still with us?
Yeah.
Is he alive? That's. I mean, I hate to ask rude questions like that, but again, you guys get my point, and this is what I do for a living. So
Nick's short.
Nick is short.
That Randy then.
I guess that's better than being ugly.
You're taller than I am.
All right. So with this location, EMF readings, 2.5 is exciting in this location. Just so you guys know. So when we start spreading out, because we will be able to spread out here once we get through the history, the 2 electrical poles in the corners of the lot, parking meters on the other side of the bushes. So don't get excited. The closer you get to that, the higher those EMF readings go. I normally get more excited about things back here. Tristan, this wall behind me is not your friend. It will look like an army of stick people all the way down, because again, all leaves are in front of another leaf. So we're here because of the gunpowder magazine. That's a tiny little building in the front with the crosses on it. Those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with what the hell earthquake bolts are, I think somebody said from California here, you guys are going to giggle when I tell you about this because I normally get laughed at. Earthquake bolts are turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, you can tighten up those turnbuckles and it tightens the building so it doesn't incur further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. And bring them up because it's part of the reason of why we're here. Those earthquake bolts were the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in because it's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. That building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here to start her new life, which is why we're here. It's what I call a familiar. So for the TV show and YouTube watchers, they use that Boo Buddy. It's basically a teddy bear with that blinky light EMF meter in it. So if a child gets near it, it goes off because the child will recognize it as a toy. Think of that concept as this building. We don't have many buildings this old. So again, it's a big roll of the dice if Anne Bonny's going to be here at the same time we are, but we're going to have some fun with this and hopefully get things from Dr. Ladd as well. Let's get into Anne's story. The building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building? 10 years? No, not at all. But anyway, the history of Anne starts right in the middle of it. So try to follow me. There's a couple of twists here. I'll slow down on the twists if I can. 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Y'all with me so far?
Yep.
3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was the wife that she kicked them out of the damn country by boat? There's no planes in 1708. So they landed in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach, about an hour and a half north. Dad bought a plantation up there, and Mom died pretty quickly. That means Dad is now sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell things from that plantation to keep things afloat. So back home in Ireland, Anne was said to be a badass back then. They say when she was 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, nothing is exact, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Can't tell you how many times I've had servant, knife, and belly all show up on 3 different boxes and nobody knows what the other 2 people have. Fast forward, the building's done in 13. By 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne's pretty stoked. The reason why, she's going to fall in love with one of these pirates so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. So, the first guy she falls in love with, and I said first because there's a handful. That's what makes the story so damn good. That's what we're going to talk about. First guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going because I already told you her pirate name. Dad didn't approve. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married, and Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where her pirate name came from. However, when they get down there, she realizes her new husband is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wants. She falls in love again. Guy number 2. Guy number 2 is John Rackham. Everybody calls him Calico Jack. Calico Jack is basically the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you're wondering who this guy is, by the way. He has his own crew. He has his own ship and wants to be part of the crew. You cannot put a female on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why? It is bad luck. Thank you for keeping it family friendly. I get a lot of weird answers.
That was not where my head went.
If there's little kids in the tour, I make sure I don't throw that question out there because again, I get all the adults going, I'm not answering that one. But anyway, so he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, look like the crew, you can be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. So, but she's a lady in his quarters. Most of us are adults here. Let's put 2 and 2 together. she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, and they're going to get rid of Jack as captain because it's a democracy. They'll just vote him off. He drops her off in Cuba. What do you got? Did you
IRS.
IRS. So he drops her off in Cuba. Have the baby here with these friends of mine. They'll help you out. Come back later. We'll figure it out then. She goes and has that baby, but returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. But she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. To make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew that he just captured. They're down below deck. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become part of that crew. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because of the time frame. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet guns. They don't know how to use cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. So, obviously, 2 ladies with 1-bullet flintlocks are not going to take on a whole fleet of Navy ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain in bow, Calico Jack. She says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up on your communication a lot. The judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack a few days prior, and the drunken pirates, they wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front of the judge and reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. The judge could give a damn that they are female. They are pirates in his eyes. He's still going to hang them. They scream out, "We plead our bellies," because they're claiming to be pregnant, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So they did save themselves. He delays the hanging, sends them both back to jail, but Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary because we don't really know. She has 4 children, dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we do not know much anything about her after her pirate career, and it's all speculation. So I'm not about to throw myths and legends at you. So I'm only giving you what it came from, a minimum of so many resources. Mary Reed died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Most books would tell you something like fever, something very simple. I say, let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? I mean, we are talking pirates here. So I'm not going to assign questions here. This is a place where you can ask whatever the hell you want to. I'm just going to point out a few things I left out on purpose. The names of Anne Bonny's parents, the father and the mistress. I did not tell you what those specific names were. The name of Calico Jack's ship that she joined, the city where she grew up in Ireland, and the color of her hair, which you can all guess and be correct, which she's the red-haired, green-eyed Irish woman. So, again, I usually give that to people with a spirit box that they're struggling with, so that way it's an easy one-syllable answer that they can grab. Everything else is up in the air. Again, we're going to spread out, have some fun, and just stay away from the, what do we got, 4 vehicles in here? Where's my Phasm cam? Who's got that one? The one with the handle and the big lights. The biggest orb I've ever caught with that guy was near that, and it was bigger than my head. It appeared in frame, like manifested, came near me, I didn't even know it was there, turned, and then went up and disappeared in frame. Bigger than my head. So again, biggest one I've ever caught has been by that wall up there by the building, just so you have an idea.
Okay.
Definitely not any light flare. But yeah, let's spread out, let's have some fun in here, let's do this. Kind of a crazy
And we
one.
walk this way.
Yeah, you guys are all looking at me like, this is the craziest thing we've ever done in our life.
Words pop up? Yeah, just words like so I can look at the list, ring, temperature.
What is it?
They're just like words that pop up.
All right, make our night, mister.
I know, I kind of, I'm waiting to see your,
I want to hear the words because sometimes like they'll mean something you don't realize it.
right. So yeah, I'll just say,
Oh.
so far chair, temp, ring, generous vehicle loan.
Generous vehicle loan. That's kind of funny.
Like, I was like, vehicle. I'm like, let's just get a Vietnamese vehicle. I'm like, I'm not sure. I even got, I was like, it was push me, jump, and then, what is it? Oh, Islamic.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, okay. What does yours look like?
If you want to try this one, I'm happy to trade and stuff if you want another experience.
What are you just looking for blue?
So this blue dot, if it ever gets to like 54 or lower, is when
I don't
you're
know,
excited. I
Brittany,
had,
that might be like my eye.
I know. I'm like, I'm glad I'm having a good eye night because
I already have, for some reason, my eye is like, I don't know what's going on, but.
well, it's weird because like some nights I won't be able to see anything, and then sometimes like tonight, luckily I can see.
Oh,
It's weird. I'm
I
like,
might
how
just stick on a chair right now. There's a chair. Needs a chair. I need
well,
a chair.
and Nicole looked like she needed a chair earlier. She was squatting.
Oh, yeah. I know,
All right,
mine
let me
just
see that
saying.
word list. Hit the
Okay.
white button for me.
Yep. I know.
I would expect it. That is exactly 100.
But as long as I don't go down like downstairs.
Anything?
There's something that's probably a glare.
Oh, there, that light right there.
That's only
Do me a favor and go up above that tree. When he was talking, I thought I saw something caught my eye up there, but I can't point up that way because it's sky, so it doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? I love how both of you are like giving me the same shots.
yeah.
You're welcome. We like to back up.
Doesn't it make you want to? I need to get out of here.
Radio station 135. Anything crazy?
Doesn't really ever go below 70.
So this camera a few times, like weeks apart. Actually, I only smaller groups, 2-3 people. I always was handing that one out because it's easy to use. And person was filming me and the spirit box person, and static, like old snow from an old TV, went over the person with the spirit box, and it shut off.
Oh.
We walked, and it was at this location. So we walked away about 15-20 feet, just kind of like, maybe it's just weird from the electrical pole. The spirit box turned back on and was still recording. There was no glitch. I have to hit 4 buttons to get it to do that. So it shut all the way off, and then it just popped back on. It was the craziest thing. And it happened again like 2 or 3 weeks later.
Oh, really?
Weirdest thing I've ever seen. So if it happened like on a regular basis, like every night, something's wrong with the spirit box. Right. So, I mean, and I changed the battery, you know, because it has a rechargeable battery, so I bought a new one and replaced it. Weeks later, same thing. You gotta be shitting me. So now I know it's not the spirit box. But white snow, spirit box shut down.
Same thing
Weirdest
each time.
thing.
Yeah. Was it always here?
Yeah, just this location.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, it was up in this area both times. So just the strangest thing. So the first time I'm like, maybe something's wrong with the equipment, whatever, you know, I'll take it. But the second time, I'm like, that's not coincidence. So
Interesting.
that's my world. Always
So
interesting.
I need to get a spirit box person. Was it this one?
Yep, Barb has one.
So I got a name too.
I'm good there.
No,
Pictures look like
he said
the
something
heat.
weird at this location happens with the spirit box in this camera. So I'm just going to
Just the 103.5.
keep in my
Okay. We got a whole lot of nothing.
camera on it. Let's see. He said it would go static here, and then the spirit box would cut off.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. That was a good photo. Good idea.
That's the word torture.
Oh, Samuel, were you tortured?
Anything
Samuel.
crazy? All right, let's head over to the wall, everybody. Like, this one's kind of a dud.
Okay. Samuel, you're a dud.
It is.
It happens. Again, kind of a dud. Again, we also don't know what was being missed in real time either. So, just so you know, come on in closer, guys. I think I got most of your names down, by the way. If I screwed up anybody's name, did I call you guys anybody's different name?
That's all right. We totally understand. It's no problem.
I see a lot of you guys every week. So,
Just don't call me Noelle.
Again.
well, that was on you guys. You guys switched spots on me.
I did.
So I got Amanda No.
Amanda, no. Played over from the doctor. His fiance was Amanda.
Oh.
So it's probably the only thing we have over here.
Right.
So
I walked over there and
I gave you guys that warning at the top of our night about the headache, nausea, dizziness. So this location is part of the reason why. So 2 years ago, month of September, I took my team to the back like I always do because the other tours like to come up catty-cornered. And the kid next to me, he's probably 21, 22 years old. He starts to faint. It's September. Temperature's a little bit cooler than this. There's no reason for this kid to be fainting. I had to pick him up by his armpit so he doesn't hit his head on the ground. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We brought him over here, got him some water. He felt better. He was willing to move on. So I told him, you know, that team the whole story like I just told you. And then I spread everybody out because this used to be the last stop. I told you I change this up every year. These two guys pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females dressed like males, just like Anne and Mary in the story on the tour. It made sense, but still unexplainable. So at that point, this is why I give those heated warnings. I do get a lot of psychics on this, practicing psychics and witches like that will actually go through the Pinckney Mansion site. You guys already seen a 47 EMF reading in there. It could be pretty dangerous for them. I make sure if I know that they're, you know, some kind of psychic or medium, they're not getting a headphone spirit box. That's a totally different type of messaging system than what they're already receiving. So I try to make sure I'm not going to interfere with that. So again, I get all kinds. So just take that for what it's worth. That heated warning was a legitimate thing, not to put a scare into anybody, but it is a real thing for me. So let's go over the answers for Ann Bonnie. Now that I told you, like, hey, that's why people pass out on my tour. So, again, not super excited about what's going on here, so that's why I kind of called it in early. Only did like one quick round robin. You guys weren't giving me anything that was relevant. The only thing we really have is that Amanda No, and that's bleed over from Dr. Ladd. One of the few pictures you can find of Ann Bonnie where she actually has a shirt on. The reason why, she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman before they died. It's kind of like a haha, you were just killed by a woman kind of thing. So I do get teenage boys on this. I don't need angry moms and grandparents. So that's why I show this picture. The city where she grew up was Cork, Ireland. So Cork would have been something that would have popped up on a spirit box. Obviously her hair color is red. The names of her parents, William Cormac, Mary Brennan. This was not another subliminal trick with the name Mary. We just happen to have two in the story. I'll also tell you that Mary Brennan was a servant for the Cormac family. Now you can all speculate on how Dad met Mom. So kind of put that two and two together. That's another 30-minute scandal we don't need to discuss. Calico Jack. I like to show you guys what he looked like simply because everybody wants to see what they based Johnny Depp off of. Calico Jack was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from British captains that he killed. His father was a tailor, which means textiles are important to them. Calico Jack basically stands for fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from. Depending on which pirate book you're reading, some of you even say that's where fancy pants came from, but that doesn't make sense with the name Jack, does it? So, fancy jacket is what I go with. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. I don't expect the word Kingston to come out of our red-headed spirit boxes. Maybe more so with the open-aired one, just because that one picks up more disembodied voices than the headsetted ones. The word king would suffice if you were asking about the ship. So, again, it's like a what color is a big red barn blood mentality. As the answer. So King would be a sufficient answer because we're not going to hear Kingston on the Charleston radio stations unless it's a disembodied voice. Next two spaces are a little different than what we've been doing. So the next location is a test of the new location that we're adding in. We're going to be breaking out a brand new device. Somebody's going to be using a crazy, it's a headset attached to a voice recorder that can basically hear a frog fart from 3 miles away. Like, it is crazy. We caught our first EVP with it just a few nights ago. I was pretty excited about it. It wasn't a direct answer, but it was almost like, where the hell did that voice come from? Hopefully that corner's not going to be too noisy so we can actually get some EVP work. We're going to test it out for about 10 minutes just because, again, it's a test, just to see if I can add it into my route for next year. And the location after that, we're going to be doing the Estes method. If you're not familiar with this, I'm going to take one of y'all and I'm going to blindfold you and put noise-canceling headphones over top of your spirit box. And you're not going to know the history of that space. And I'm going to talk to you as if you were the ghost. So basically, they're not going to know the history, so they're going to go in blind in knowledge and in sight. So that way they can't read my lips of what questions I'm asking. The other person, a secondary person, is going to be wearing a virtual reality headset, where it's going to basically create AI imagery based off the magnetometer of my phone. So it's going to create images that have never been seen before, and the hope is that those images are complementary to whatever the person is saying that is being blindfolded. So the virtual reality piece is about 40 to 45% accurate. The blindfold test is about 32% accurate. So 1 out of 3 times we get relevant answers to what we're actually asking. It is a lot of fun because if somebody's blindfolded and they don't know what I'm asking, we can get just silly answers. It can be just a fun time because they don't know what we're asking because they're not going to hear anything. So if we do have somebody coming through, it is very exciting because it'll look like a conversation between me and the blindfolded person. And then hopefully the images will give us more of that complimentary type of piece. It's a lot of fun, guys. So,
cool.
And again, we're going to blindfold 2 of y'all. So if anybody wants to volunteer, think about it along the way. And Brandy's like, I'm not sure about this.
No, Brandy's into
I'm
not
we're
scared.
going to go up and test out this new crazy voice recorder. If somebody wants to test that out, let me know once we get up to that location. So again, this is different equipment that's just not already in your hands. I normally, with the blindfolded person, like to choose a person that's been using the spirit box all night long. But again, I'll choose one person, or you guys can tell me one person from every party that's going to do the blindfolded virtual reality test because they're going to do it together. So that way it kind of moves together. But yeah, let's talk about this along the way, and you guys can kind of figure out who's going to do what. But let's go test out my crazy voice recorder. Let's do this.
Cool.
We're going to do some weird stuff.
Yeah. I got big
It was a complete mess. Nothing was going on here at all.
At some point are you like, when you blindfolded us, that should have been a red flag. So at some point we're going to be like, when you blindfolded us, that should have been a red flag.
Blindfold, y'all, just so you know.
Come on, dude. Make Lisa. Come on in.
Messed up.
Did you turn yours on?
I guess we are supposed to turn it off. But that's who I was.
What?
Father.
Father.
Could be my dad. He would say father too, because he's just obnoxious like
We're
that.
talking. Listen. Left you a message.
This is going to be your blindfold part.
That says well documented. Got that
Well
word.
documented.
There's a message.
Well documented.
Oh God,
So
I suddenly
put
don't want to
anything
hear
on
the
until we
message.
come
So
back,
did
and
was
then
the
we're gonna
killer
teach
in the
rest of this
news?
group the history. So,
Oh, no.
all right, we'll be back. Yep,
Well,
just sit
back
here.
in
You
a
guys
minute.
become besties for 5 minutes. All right, let's go over here.
There's
guys.
no need.
There's no need. We have a lot of stuff over here.
There's no need for it to be well.
This one's nice and short and quick because, again, I like to get back to them very quickly. And sometimes the teenagers usually want to jump in on this, so I don't like to leave the teenagers by themselves for too long.
Oh.
So, first time I came in here, which was a year ago, I only had 2 people. It was a cold night, and I was just testing it out like what we did over there on the corner. And the person with the spirit box, I asked them to tell me just whatever they hear, because I don't know what I'm looking for yet. They hear the year 1828, the name Henry, and I was using the word list, and the name Tim showed up on that word list. The bust behind me is Henry Timrod, born in 1828. And I'm not shitting him, so I guess I wish I was. So anyway, quick skinny on him is that he was a writer and sick through most of his life. Being born in 1828, he's old enough to go fight in the Civil War. He goes out to the battlefield for the Confederates, and his comrades tell him he's too sick to fight. They sent him home, knowing he was a writer, and said, go be the voice of the war. They wanted him to write about what was going on in the battlefield. So he came home and started writing poetry. Became known as the Laureate of the Confederacy. That's a pretty prestigious title, in case you're not familiar with the writing world. A couple years go by, he has a son. His son's name is Willie. He's born on Christmas Eve, and dies 9 months later on October 23rd. So, very sad for him and his wife, Katie. A couple years still go by, and he's not writing as much, and his writer friend, Paul Hamilton Hayne, another Charleston native, realizes he's not writing as much and offers him his cottage in Columbia. He says, go out there and get back on track. Leave Katie behind with her parents who were here visiting so she can mourn their son, Willie. So he goes out there, and that's where he wrote his last words. His last words were, beholder of brief mortality, dear person with a short life. And then he coughed, and it landed on a page in a blood stain, because he had tuberculosis, and he died on the page. The blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk. That was his legendary mark that he left behind. They show this page one day a year at the Charleston Library Society, but you got to be a member to be able to go see it, and they only show it on Halloween. They call it the Blood Book. The internet's beautiful, so I'm going to show you what the page looks like, and we're going to go talk to Mark as if he's Henry Timrod. So, you might want to pay attention to the tips and tricks that I give them of what to expect out of this whole ordeal, so you guys know how I'll be asking questions. So here is the final page. Cough, cough of death. Here is your tuberculosis blood stain.
Wow.
Wow.
So you
That's
can
what you're well documented with.
I know. That's,
could be. So you can see where it actually looks like a man writing at his desk. So I will tell you that during the month of October, this was pretty light during this whole session because Henry died in October, as did his son. So it was almost like I had a whole month of mourning where he was like, go away, I don't want you here. So it was really, really light. About November 2nd or 3rd, we actually had a really good night. So hopefully we get the same thing tonight now that we're getting further and further away from October. Again, it's a know your ghost type of mentality. Pinckney Mansion, we got to be respectful. And Bonnie, we got to kick in the shins to get answers. And this guy, we just have to be a little bit patient. I'm only going to keep them under for 10 minutes. That camera that you have there is going to be basically focused on them the entire time because that's the best footage we're going to have. The other 2 cameras, you can film whenever you want to, just not the other tours walking through here. EMF readings have gone into triple digits during this location, so again, just kind of keep an eye on your numbers, see if anything goes up above that 2.5. We've seen it go all the way up to 167, so that's the highest in this location so far. This is a lot of fun, so kind of keep an eye on things. If answers aren't coming out of there, it may come through other devices, so kind of keep that in mind as well. I always ask about echoes. So when the bells go off, I always ask Henry, what are we hearing? I've had it spelled out, I've had it come out of the spirit box, and I've had it on there and them. It's a question that's come out of every device. So I've been doing this Estes method for about 6 or 7 months now, and we've gotten it multiple ways. Let's go talk to a ghost. That's the best way to do this, right? Don't put your earbuds in yet, because I got to talk to you for a few minutes. Few tips and tricks. I'll record my phone and your device. You're going to basically give us a description of what you're seeing. I left a gray smoke background just so the folks underneath this don't fall asleep. So again, you're going to see gray smoke. We'll tell us everything that's not gray smoke. Keep it simple because you can be able to hear us. He won't. So he's going to continue talking. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay. So Mark, when we're done with this, so Lynn, you're going to have to help me out with some of this thing. So when we're done, she's going to tap you on the leg. I will never touch you, just so you know. So tapping on the leg means take off your own gear. If you're too loud, because you will be telling us everything you're hearing in real time, please don't forget to talk. Most people do. She was going to tap you on the shoulder if you're too loud. We have neighbors, and we try not to be too loud out here. Again, if you having headphones on, again, most people can't do that. Figure it keeps you guys busy. It's like a Batman mask. So you have to take your glasses.
Nick?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can you see if it's... Is it calling?
It's not.
It's not. I was pushing the button. Okay.
It's a quick tap.
Okay.
Not yet.
Net?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
So you guys are only going to be under for 10 minutes. So that's the time limit, and I do keep an eye on breathing. I don't write anything down, so that way I can keep an eye on you guys. I've had people hyperventilate during this because it can be a little much, so kind of keep that in mind. But again, Mark, just please don't forget to talk.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. All right, so for you, it's blindfold first, then the earbuds, and then she's going to put the noise-canceling headphones on, and I'll show her how to do that. So go ahead and put your blindfold on, and then your earbuds in your ears. Find a comfy volume with your spirit box. Then I'm going to set this up for you, Nicole. So all you'll have to do is sit here and watch. So set it up real quick. I'm not taking pictures of y'all. It's just calibrating.
What are you doing?
What do the spirit box for?
Got to plug it in. Yep, you got it. It's right here.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought you had this plugged in already.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Yeah,
Doing
blindfold,
okay?
then earbuds.
Blindfold,
Yeah.
then he's super tired.
Can't hear it at all.
We're going to turn the volume up for you.
Okay. All right. Blindfold.
Like that. You do have a focus on here, so things are blurry. Just turn the dial right there. It's in the center. If my wife's, this is my phone, so if my wife is sending you dirty messages, just let me know.
How do you
Slide right over.
Is it
It's flipping.
keep this thing closed?
It doesn't. It goes over here.
So that's why when I
Those are ear holes.
a longer phrase, it's like, it's interesting.
just like the other night when we played
Earbuds. Put the earbuds in. Stay back there. Stay back there. You're going to put these on his head next.
Do you do this?
Getting ready to.
Head.
Ready, Nick?
Yeah.
Anything in there at all, Nicole? Or is it smoke?
No, it was a full like scene.
Oh, what'd you have?
It was
You gotta
like,
tell us what you're seeing.
oh, I thought it was supposed to be there. Sorry. There was a tree on the left,
Okay.
and then there was like a maze in the center,
Okay.
and it was like made out of stone, like cream colored stone, like you'd see in the Middle East or something.
Okay.
And then some shadows on the right side. Maybe it was shrubbery.
Okay.
That was a cool scene.
Mark, can you hear us?
A little bit.
Turn your volume up then. Make sure
Yeah.
you can hear
I
us.
can't see the darn thing.
Just tell me when it's too much.
I really don't hear anything.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear it.
Tell me when it's too much.
That's good.
Okay. All right, perfect. It is 10:49. We're gonna go for 10 minutes. We do have one image so far. Henry Timrod, if you can push through, this is Mark. He can hear whatever you want us to hear.
Great.
And Nicole can see any visuals you want to give us. So far, she's seen something of nature.
It was more man-made.
What?
Oh,
Seriously. All the.
Henry, let's start off with something about your occupation. Can you tell us something about your occupation, please? What you did for a living? Let's keep it nice and light to get started. Henry? Oh, when you have something, just shout them out. See you looking around. Testing it. Henry Timrod, can you push through and tell us something about your occupation?
Lower. Knee replacement.
Henry, did you bring somebody else with you? Is there somebody else here? Can you give us their name? Henry Timrod.
Going north. Seems November.
Can you tell us the name of who else came with you here today?
Metal. Side.
Henry, we'll take images as well. Paul can see whatever you want us to see. I I asked about your occupation, or if you brought somebody else here with
Happy
you.
now.
Henry, do you want to talk about your wife tonight? Can you tell us her first name? You guys are getting things on your other spirit boxes. Just shout them out. How's our word list coming? Anything on there?
Decomposing. Neck, cold, shout.
Henry, I need you to push through. Tell us something about your occupation, verify that you're here, or if you brought somebody with you. You said the word knee replacement. He was doing so well earlier.
Confident. Obey.
Henry, let's keep it nice and simple. Just talk about what you did for a living, what you love to do. Henry, very quiet. Let's try to have a conversation here. This is how we learn about you. We're out of the month of October. I know that was a rough month for you. A month of mourning between you and your son. We're away from October. What do you want to tell us? Just asking simple questions
Very
about
best.
your work. Not asking any of the gory things that people normally
Free
would.
consultation.
Get
Knee
upside out neck.
replacement. It's a doctor.
Well, the knee replacement thing could be relevant. That's why I was asking if there was somebody else here. Dr. Ladd lived 0.3 miles over this way, so we get him slipping through from time to time.
Need cash.
Need cash. Need cash. Nicole, nothing at all? You falling asleep in there?
No, I mean that image that I first saw
All
here
is.
was so clear that I thought it was supposed to be here. And then it just disappeared.
Yeah, that's the point. It's supposed to just generate images.
Something out there.
Henry, we don't do this for a long period of time, and you haven't given us anything yet. And the lack of images tells me that you might not even be here. If you're not here, and there is somebody else here, give us your first name.
Industry.
I see like some bushes to the right.
Okay. Is that it?
It seems like there's like a brick building behind it, but it's really hard to
Ouch.
make out.
Ouch. 2 images.
Able to see.
Yeah, we blindfold these folks.
Realm.
Henry, tell us what's in this picture. I don't fully understand it.
There's some windows or
Journal.
Take journal. Finally. What's with the windows?
well now it seems like
Policies.
there's sort of like black
Trained.
bars on the windows.
Henry, tell me about this journal of yours. The last page. What about it? So I'm going to go for another minute or so here, Henry.
Come on. Is here.
I think there's a
You
horse.
can do.
A white horse.
The white horse. Who is here?
It's galloping.
Rivalwood.
I didn't understand what it said. But anyway.
Yeah, there's a white horse galloping through the courtyard.
Henry, we're going to wrap this up just to be respectful. Can you say goodnight back to us? Or you can just tell us to go home. I'm okay with that too. Henry, you want us to go home?
Blowing. It's the
Go ahead.
lies.
Okay. We'll call it. Henry, have a good night. I will see you tomorrow. Go ahead and tap them out for me, then.
Want me to take this
Yep,
out?
peel that thing off your face. Let's take a look at these images. The only thing that came out of that was journal, because this guy was a writer. So I'm going to show you guys these images that she saw, and then of course they'll be in your data set tomorrow. It's only showing one image, and it was the first one.
Yeah.
So what happened to the other one? I don't either. That's weird. You said you saw like a white horse?
And it kept kind of going through.
And I have no idea
Over and over and
what this image is from. So I don't find this to be relevant at all.
Is it Islamic? Because you had Islamic
She
on
did
your
have
word
Islamic
list.
on there. So you can see how clear and concise it can be. Like it is.
There, it's missing. Oh, there's the tree. Yes. Yep.
One
That's
tree.
exactly what it was.
But so weird that you saw 2 pictures or 3.
I saw 2 others besides this.
Where did they go?
I don't know.
Because when I bring up the images, that's the only thing that comes up. That's weird. So maybe only you were meant to see that. It's kind of how I look at that. There's no such thing as coincidence to me. So, but
None of them were as clear as this,
As that
by the
one.
way. The horse was kind of it almost looked like
it's going to generate.
cloud horse,
Yeah.
you know?
So it's going to generate as it's bringing it up because it's trying to basically read the magnetometer reading to see if it's going to translate it into something. I'm going to call this entire session unsuccessful, just so you guys know. So again, this is not something where I'm like, oh my god, this was the best thing ever. You know, I've had full-blown conversations like this and nothing basically occurred here. How do you feel, by the way? Feel
I'm
okay?
gonna go take a nap. It went by fast.
Yeah. So I would say we probably kept you under for about 8 minutes. We kind of cut it short because we weren't really getting much out of it. So at this point, I am going to start collecting your gear. If you have a camera, by all means, hit those stop buttons. And then you guys